there's lots of complex reasons, but about why, we get burnt out, why we start to feel a bit undervalued. And, I think definitely time in service is going to be a factor in that. So, there's lots of kind of worrying stats there on working as a nurse. And I know none of this is news. We all know this, right? But, I think my view on it is, what can we do about it to help ourselves? I think the onus is on us to try and find our own solutions to this and not kind of wait for other people to do it. So, the way I see the world moving forward, and I don't know whether you agree with this or not, you might not, but I would say that, the NHS has been going through a period where things are being sort of privatised via the back door. And as far as I'm concerned, is that going to continue once we get out of this COVID-19 scenario? For me personally, I'd say it's quite likely. We've had lots of great respect and love during this period as well, which has been, unusual and lovely to experience. But again, realistically, is that likely to be reflected in paying conditions when this is all over? Honestly, I think it's unlikely. I mean, we are, we're going to be heading to massive austerity apart from anything else. So with the best will in the world, it's unlikely. Let's be honest about it. So, that's kind of where we're at. And, the next question is, well, what do you do about it? What are we going to do? It's hard or impossible, not impossible, but hard to completely start over. That's an option. Nurses looking at a new career completely. But, I think for many of us that's really unappealing, like starting all over again, going to the bottom of the ladder, going to the bottom of a pay scale for whatever it is. And aside from all that, all of the incredible experience that we've built up, like we don't want to just kind of dispose of that and do away with that and walk away from that. I think most of us have like a real element of pride in what we do and what we've done, and that's definitely become more evident during this period. So really just to dump it all to go and have a career in Marks and Spencer's or something, I think for a lot of people doesn't really appeal. Retirement, well, if you're of retirement age, that's great. If you're not, then like nobody's retiring early on a nurse's salary, are they? So, what else have you got then? I mean, like I say, I think it's about us figuring out something for ourselves. And for me, the idea of starting a business is not necessarily always just financially driven, but it could be a way of getting some control, getting some fulfillment, and getting some purpose back in your life. So for me, the business that I've set up, it has done some of those things. It has given me an opportunity to kind of run things my way, because I knew that my way was a good way, and I knew that I was capable of doing that. And like I said at the outset, I didn't necessarily intend that it was going to be something that I did full time. That's kind of just the way it's gone. But so aside from that, it's about, as I said, not necessarily something that's financially driven, but about having a project. I mean, call it a project if you prefer. But it could be, just something that you kind of can channel some energy, some positivity, some creativity, some of you into. I've said before, I think, as nurses, we're in a really good position in terms of building projects and businesses, in that we do have the ability to work around stuff, in that we can work shifts, or we can do locum work, bank work, agency work, that kind of thing, which gives us the ability to kind of continue with an income, whilst we kind of work on whatever the project is. So yeah, like I say, see it as a project. It could be, that you're writing a blog, that you're, developing a kind of a social media profile, or it could be more higher impact than that. But it doesn't necessarily need to be aesthetics, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to be a career switch. This is about, for me, I think it's about self-preservation and undertaking something that could be exciting and invigorating, and well, it could bring some extra income to you as well, which would be a fantastic bonus. Certainly looking at the US as well, when we're talking about nurse-run businesses, they don't necessarily have to be even medically related. Although, as I said, my view is that I think privatisation within the NHS will continue whether we like it or not. And I do feel a sense of, why shouldn't nurses be involved in some of that process if it's happening anyway? And by that I mean that there are services that can be developed, that can be taken on fully by nurses. But that would be, stuff that you obviously need to plan thoroughly for and think about what that is. But a lot of you are involved in service development in your role anyway. So how do you take that into something that you privatise and you pitch for? There's loads of different ways of looking at it, and we'll talk about that more in another session. I don't want to go off on a tangent. And just again, not to go off on a tangent, but just very briefly, some of the nurses within the group already, just to give you an idea of the kinds of things that people are already doing. Stuff like we've got aesthetics, we've got skincare, we've got weight management services, we've got smoking cessation services, we have got somebody who has a jewellery business, a completely non-medical, we've got counselling, we've got teaching, we've got someone who does, can't think of the correct term, but works as a medical witness kind of thing. We've got people that have, published, books, chapters within books. We've got people in fitness. We've got people in CBD, life coaching, midwifery, travel medicine, colonic hydrotherapy. You get the gist. Like, it's not just limited to one thing, one area. It's not just aesthetics, and it's not just medical either. So this is like time to open your minds, guys. So like I say, in terms of burnout, what I'm proposing is that we can be more proactive in preventing burnout, instead of kind of just waiting for someone else to make us feel better, but to do things to make ourselves feel better within the context of what is viable, what is doable, really. So my little quote from last week, it's kind of looking at having the courage to change the things that I can. So, there are things that we can do that are really practical to prevent against burnout. And maybe that's surprising for you to hear or to consider, that could be something really proactive. You might be thinking, well, God, I'm tired already. I don't need something else to make me more tired. But my answer to that would be, well, you know, it's different. It's like when you do exercise and you feel tired, it doesn't make you more tired, it re-energizes you, it reinvigorates you. And that's the kind of thing that I'm trying to kind of convey to you, that actually, done correctly and done with support and help, which is where I come in, that this can be something that adds another element to your life, isn't like another burden, another hassle, but is something that kind of puts a better slant on everything, because you're getting that kind of feeling of fulfillment back that's been missing. So that is all I wanted to say on that. On the next few weeks, what I want to do is talk to a few nurses that are on the group about some of the services or businesses that they're running. And again, I'm just trying to sort of give you some food for thought and some ideas, and make you think about perhaps stuff that you haven't thought relates to you, possibly. So if you've got any specific questions that you would, that you ask yourself about business or anything that I've been talking about, please do let me know, so that I can incorporate those when I'm speaking to the nurses. But that's one of the things I want to do over the next few weeks. And like I say, hopefully I'll be able to come back to you with some interesting insight into their experiences. So next week I'm going to look at what different sort of types of business there are. So that's going to be the theme for next week. There could be a slideshow, I do like a slideshow. Okay, so that's going to be next week's topic.